photographs, actual pictures of what happened here in New York this morning at the World Trade Center. Fuad Ajami, distinguished professor at Johns Hopkins University. Fuad Ajami, let's talk for a moment about the reaction. You traveled...
Yeah, okay. Let's just wait right here. Let's just station up right here, okay?
All right, Doctor.
Why don't we set up? Can you hang IDs from this pole here?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Did we just heard another explosion? Yeah, handing out gloves and masks. The consensus is it's too unsafe to go in there. Just gonna wait here until they bring some people out. I was hooked up with some firemen with some first aid stuff.
What are we going to
You know what?
Anything?
Why don't we just set this up as a little mobile hospital unit right here, okay?
Hold on to try and get all units that are available. We're having a new command post on Murray Street and West Street. Any units available, report it when you're all up to go.
Any suggestions? Should we set up here for medical work? Think this is safe enough here?
Those pictures shot by Dr. Mark Heath. We don't know much about Dr. Heath, but we, I think, can fairly say that he had extraordinary presence of mind as he continued not only shooting those pictures, but also offering assistance where he could. At one point, he hid behind a...
American veterans of military service, for that matter. Mr. McVeigh now has gone to his just reward, and today we can only assume that this was a much more sophisticated terrorist attack, and because it is the Trade Center, which had been attacked before, most people are concluding that it did come from one of the more radical Islamic terrorist organizations, or terrorist organizations with or without the word Islamic. This is a live picture of Manhattan, looking across the harbor now at the lower end of the financial district. Until 9:42 this morning, you would see the gleaming twin towers of the World Trade Center, and then they were attacked, and within a few hours they went down. We're now told that President Bush is scheduled to leave Offutt, the Strategic Air Command headquarters, shortly for an undisclosed location. That's according to the press pool that does travel with the president. It travels in the back of Air Force One, the 747. Has been set up. There's another angle on the collapse of the trade towers. However many times you may look at it, it still boggles the mind. Belief is suspended, thinking, could this have happened? Was it some kind of a graphics animation of some kind? But we are living through a day, the 11th of September, 2001, that we will be dealing with for a good long time in our lives, and our children will be dealing with it as well in history books, if not in their own lives. Any number of people have pointed out that the 11th of September in shorthand is 9/11, and 9/11 was overtaxed today across this country in so many ways. Now, the president will be returning to Washington, D.C. It is important that business go on as...
Phone at Offutt Air Force Base. There you see Air Force One in the air. He is headed back to the White House. We learned from Karen Hughes, senior advisor to the president, that Vice President Cheney and National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice were already at a secure facility inside the White House, as are other senior White House staffers. Apparently, it has been decided that the president will go back there, join them as they continue to formulate a response to this. Another key player here, the Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld, he is not at the White House. He is at the Pentagon, even though there was a plane crash earlier there today. His office specifically not affected, so he remains there. But again, after finishing up a National Security Council meeting via secure phone at Offutt Air Force Base in Omaha, Nebraska, the president now is en route back to Washington, D.C., presumably headed toward the White House to that secure facility where Vice President Cheney and National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice are already waiting.
Rudolph Giuliani says at the moment that at least 2,100 people have been injured and 600 of them taken to hospitals.
Well, I didn't see no water because we was just running down the stairs, running on. The staircase was packed with people. We were just running down the stairs.
And when you got down and got out, what did you do then?
Well, they told us that they showed us exactly where to walk. So I was on Fulton Street, and then a few minutes later we just started running because the whole building collapsed after that. The whole building just came right down. So and the smoke was so intense that we was running. We ran all the way to the Brooklyn Bridge, just to get away from the smoke.
And what did you think when you turned around and saw the building coming down?
I said, "Oh my God, all those people in there!" We were screaming. Everybody that was in it, we were screaming, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God!" We made it up, but all those people in there, all those people in there, we was crying. All those people in there, you know, it shook us up so bad. It shook us up.
What about your friends and the people that you know that work in the building? Were they all able to get out, Amy?
Well, the people in my department, I think everyone made it out safe, but I don't know about the rest of them. I mean, you know, I'm worried about them because I don't know if they made it safe or oh God, or if they died or what. I don't even know.
Where are you now, Amy?
I'm home, but it's like I'm in my bed because my whole body is just shaking. My whole body is shaking. It's like I can't even move. It's just shaking.
Well, Amy,
in a dire situation himself. He's got crews that he needs to deal with, and he needs to find out if his coworkers are all okay. He was told earlier that most of them everyone should be okay because those were all evacuated at 9 o'clock this morning, shortly after the original plane crash happened. So again, the concern at this point, if your visuals, and I'm unfortunately on a cell phone because we have been moved with our live locations 5 times now, and it's very difficult to get pictures out of our location now. The big concern is number 7 World Trade Center, the large brown building. In fact, Ivan, can I just ask you what you saw? You were watching the south side of 7 World Trade Center and
East side.
The southeast side, or just the east side?
East side, right.
What did you see when you saw those windows start to blow out?
It was very quiet, and then suddenly one window blew out, and then every 20 or 30 seconds another window would blow out down the line on one floor, then hit the second, and then every 20 or 30 seconds the window would blow out. And then as the fire kept going higher and higher, larger pieces of the building started blowing out of the building.
Did it look like it was a succession of explosions, or did it look as though it was the fire that was just bursting windows in that line of succession?
It looked like the fire was just spreading from one room to the other and one floor to the other, exploding the windows out.
How high up was that on 7 World? That's the brown building we're looking at right now. How high up was that? What floor?
It started around the 12th to 15th floor. And that's working its way up to the roof.
And that's about what would you say, a 60-story building?
Yes.
About a 60-story building?
50 or 60 stories, yes.
All right, Ivan, thank you. Brian, I'm just watching as the smoke is just billowing out of that building as well. What are you pointing at? Okay. We're also, let me just read this. There's a sign in front of me on a light stand. It says, "Donate blood." Blood is being accepted at the following locations, and it lists 3 different locations. With subways down, it is a long walk for a good cause, and these are going up on some of the light standards outside the perimeter. And as I said, the reason we can't come to you with pictures is because the perimeter keeps moving. We're being pushed. There's a big concern as well for the wind. If the wind shifts north, right now it's blowing in an easterly direction. If the wind shifts north, all of those plumes of smoke that you're seeing probably on your live shots will start to come directly down the north-south thoroughfares of Manhattan, where, as you can imagine, hundreds of thousands of people are now gathered watching this travesty unfold in front of them, and that's what a great concern of the police is. Not to mention, as I said before, the collapse of this building, number 7 World Trade Center, which right now, if I'm counting best I can, is about 7 blocks south of us. And let me just remind you that when the 2nd World Trade Center tower came down, we were a couple of blocks away, and I'm just being moved away. We were a couple of blocks away, and were hit so hard with that cloud of smoke. Do you have any more information, sir, on this building and the concern about it? And are we going to be moved any further, or just a fine perimeter?
I don't know. All I know is that they're just going to move for now, and that's all I believe that they're going to do.
To this perimeter here?
Yeah.
Do you have any added information, sir? I'm just talking to some of the officers, the state police, New York.
The thing we're doing is the precautionary basis now, only because we've been informed that there might be some, unstable debris or anything else. We just don't want anybody to get hurt, and that's why we're moving everybody at least to back there where people can depart from the corners. And we want to leave it open for emergency vehicles, that's all.
I also saw busloads of doctors. It looked like doctors being bused in.
You have all sorts of rescue personnel that are being moved around.
They were being moved in, but I also saw some rescue personnel being moved out, and one of the drivers of New York police officers said to me it was too dangerous. They were evacuating some of those rescue workers.
We don't know where they were working, where they were coming from, so I can't really give you any information. I don't want to misinform you.
That's okay, I understand. Have you been told at all that there will be evacuated workers?
You're going to have to move back.
I understand. Thank you. As you can imagine, Brian, I'm trying to get information as we're walking and being sort of pushed behind police lines. But if I could give you a guesstimate, a rough guesstimate of how far away we are from the initial site, from ground zero, would you say, 20 blocks or so, maybe? Oh, no, we're about maybe 12 blocks at this point now. We've been moved 5 times since this all started happening about 7 hours ago, and each time they move us about 2 blocks to 3 blocks at a time. So,
Ashley, what's still burning?
From my vantage point right now, the actual plaza of 1 and 2 World Trade Centers is still on fire. That's what we're told the flames are that we see.
Because it's a lot of fire, and you can tell it's a hot, fast-moving smoke from here.
I'll tell you, it's got to be a huge fire, because from where we are, we can see through intensely thick black smoke the flames. So, 15 blocks away or so, to be able to see that through this cloud of debris and smoke, we can still see a lot of it burning. What we cannot see burning, which is the immediate threat as we understand it, is the southeast side of 7 World Trade Center, which, Andrew, what would be the count? How many blocks up from 1 and 2 World Trade Center would 7 World Trade Center be? Maybe 6, 7? 7 blocks up? Maybe about 5 blocks. 5 blocks north of where 1 and 2 both fell this morning is 6 and 7. 6 has fallen, as we've been told. 7 is burning badly, and it's burning on a side that we cannot see. We can see the smoke billowing from it, but we cannot see the flames of it just because we're obstructed by other structures.
Well,
but the concern is that is going to go down, that it's going to collapse. And I can tell you, if it goes down, even the hundreds of people who are being kept behind this periphery are going to be running, because it's the plumes of smoke and debris and dust that move so fast down the streets. That's what we got caught in this morning with the 2nd World Trade Center that fell.
We are looking at a shot from across the Hudson River, miles away from New York, and it is actually the same kind of thing people will be seeing on their commutes home, those who haven't already left New York to go home tonight. It's a shocking scene. Number 1, a landmark is missing from the horizon, the World Trade Center, and number 2, it has been burning like this, and this smoke plume has been this big all day long, and it's striking and just as horrifying as the event that went on there today.
You wouldn't believe, from my vantage point, just seeing the people who have come to either just to witness this for themselves. Some of the comments that have been made from people is very much what we heard you and Tom Brokaw and Katie Couric saying. This is an act of war, and this is just an unbelievable tragedy. I'll tell you, one of the sites that we saw earlier, at about 10:15 this morning, an hour and a half after the initial airplane went into the first tower, we saw a security guard who worked at the World Trade Center walking towards us, and this was about 2 to 3 blocks away, just before the 2nd tower fell. The security guard looked like a ghost. He was covered head to toe in his Navy uniform with gray ash. He was walking by himself, slowly. He looked a bit despondent, and when I stopped him, I started to see the glimmer of his badge underneath all of the ash. And I asked him, where are you going? And he said, I'm just getting out of there. I'm one of the walking wounded. We're not really being attended to. They're trying to get to all the ones who really need us. The rest of us are just wandering on our way. But I'll never forget the vision of that man walking towards me. We got a digital photo of him. We'll hopefully get that, once we get a live line established, we'll try to get that to you. But it's really just
Now, at least
like nothing I've seen.
At least the hospitals were being unabashed about it, saying that we're performing triage and only the seriously wounded are going to get attention here. We have no other time for anything else today.
Yeah, Rick Sanchez got a hold of one of those tags that they had ready to go, and they had color-coded sort of sections along the bottom. The top one was black, and it said dead. The one right below it, here it is, it says deceased. The one right below it is red, it says immediate. The one right below that is yellow, it says delayed. And the one right below that is green, and it says minor. The top of it says triage tag. And that's something that the triage centers are going to be dealing with as soon as the bodies start coming in. The strange thing, Brian, though, is that only within the last few hours, many of the triage centers that were visited earlier had no bodies, had no people. They're assuming that at this point it's possible that there are some incredibly serious casualties or perhaps fatalities, and then the walking wounded, as they call them.
They just can't get at them. Yeah, the scene is too hot.
Careful. Sorry.
Ashley, thank you. We have to run. We have joining us from Washington, former U.S. Secretary of State James A. Baker III. Mr. Secretary, thank you very much for being with us.
Sure, Brian.
Mr. Secretary, the president, we now know, is en route back from the Midwest on Air Force One. We are presuming he will address the nation tonight. What, in your view, does he need to say to the American people on this terrible day in U.S. history?
Well, I think he will repeat some of what he's already said today. You know, he made a statement when he was in Florida. He made another statement, I think, on his way to Nebraska, in which he said that this has been a terrorist attack on America. It's a very sad and sorrowful day, a cowardly and dastardly act, and we're going to hunt down and punish those responsible. I think he will repeat that, and I think he will also make it clear to the American people that we're going to be looking in the future at perhaps some enhanced security measures to take care of these types of potential tragedies.
Mr. Secretary, do you think this is tantamount to an act of war, obviously one where we don't know exactly who the enemy is yet?
Well, I think it depends on what your definition of war is. It's certainly a terrorist war. I would be surprised if we find that this is the result of a state, that this action was taken by the government of a state, no matter how callous that state might be. I rather suspect it's going to be found to be the work of one of these very radical terrorist groups around the world that have wanted to do something like this for a long time. You know, we lost many brave Americans to a bombing in Saudi Arabia, Khobar barracks. We lost embassy personnel in Tanzania and Kenya a couple of years ago. We have foiled a number. I remember back to my days, we have rolled up a number of prior efforts that we were fortunate enough to discover in advance. This was obviously a very sophisticated effort. Unfortunately, it succeeded.
This took so much advanced planning, Mr. Secretary. Are you worried that this much work was pulled off without anyone finding out about it in this country?
Well, what worries me is that this was done with civilian aircraft, the hijacking of civilian aircraft. The aircraft themselves were the bombs, clearly, because they were all long-range aircraft. They were full of fuel, and they planned it that way. They knew what they were doing. How did they get the weapons through airport security at some of our most secure airports? How were they able, even after doing that, to take control not only of the aircraft but of the controls of the aircraft? You know, there are a lot of unanswered questions, but it was a very, very sophisticated operation, and it may signal what could be we could be entering a somewhat new era with respect to the problem of terrorism.
It's been said today by many people that America will never be the same after Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. Do you agree?
Well, it may very well never be the same. I hope, for one thing, Brian, is that we understand that this is a scourge that we're going to have to fight. We're going to have to be prepared to fight it. We're going to have to take the necessary measures. That means we're going to have to beef up our human intelligence capabilities that we really wrote off back in the middle 70s because we didn't like it. It was a dirty business. To have human intelligence coming into you, that means you've got to penetrate these groups, and to do that, you've got to do some very unsavory things. The first test they put on a clandestine agent is to send him out to kill somebody. Well, we Americans find that a little bit offensive. And so we don't have the human intelligence capabilities that we really need. And we're going to have to do a lot by way of beefing up our security. And unfortunately, I think there's going to be some impact on our civil liberties.
Former Secretary of State James A. Baker III. Mr. Secretary, we appreciate you being with us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Brian.
We have, as we approach 5 o'clock here in the East, especially for people who may have just arrived home to view some of these pictures for the first time, having no doubt heard about this terrible tragedy, terrorism on American shores, we have a look back at some of what has unfolded on our air and in front of our cameras so far this day.
There's another one. I'm taking a look.
Oh my God! Oh, my God! Oh, another one just hit. Something else just hit. A very large plane just flew directly over my building, and there's been another collision.
Went straight into one of the Twin Towers. It just disintegrated instantly. It was the most awful thing I've ever seen.
It straightened itself out and dove to the other side and crashed right in. An explosion was so terrific it looked like it had dynamite in it.
Get out of the area. The second tower is coming down.
They tell you the second tower is
Yes, it's about to collapse.
I got fellow officers that might be trapped. I'm not trying to be a hero, but I think if you were in this position, you'd do the same thing.
There were people falling out of the sky. We were trying to get people away when the second collapse occurred, and I dove under a truck, so I don't know how I'm here. I spent a year in combat. I never saw anything like this.
After the first tower collapsed, we were back in there trying to bring people out. We knew the second one was about to come down, but we were lifting one person, and when it came down, we all just ran for our lives.
You could hear the rumbling when you looked up, you could see the top of the building just crumbling. We all headed south, and you could feel the wind hitting in the back. Because as the debris hit.
Couldn't see, everything was totally black. We were just walking, hoping to find daylight. It was just unbelievable. I never seen anything like it in my life.
I'm just thinking about the firemen I see going up the stairs behind me and looking half of this building. I don't know.
A horrible day in the history of the city of New York, for that matter, the United States of America. This is live from several miles away. That is what the New York skyline looks like, absent a huge landmark, the World Trade Center, but with that plume of smoke that has been present all day long. And the preceding piece of videotape is why they call members of the New York City Police Department the finest, and members of the New York City Fire Department the bravest. There will be stories of heroism that come out of today, and we will be hearing about for quite some time. There are people alive tonight who wouldn't be, but for the bravery of police, fire, EMS, the ordinary people who started the day in a very ordinary way and were pressed into service as heroes, be they elevator repair workers, secretaries in some cases, executives. Many people were pressed into service in Lower Manhattan today as two commercial aircraft blew through the Twin Towers, World Trade Center. Some of the most frightening and striking videotape images. You have to remind yourself this is not a creation of Hollywood. Just been handed a piece of paper that says that senior U.S. intelligence official telling NBC News that, quote, information developed since the crash strongly indicates that bin Laden's organization is responsible. Again, we have to be careful here, and we will be hearing things like this, I imagine, as this story goes on. No details, but in the past, the U.S., after an incident, has gone back and checked on various means of electronic eavesdropping, and that is how they have been able to narrow in, to zero in on who is responsible for something like this. Presumably, absent a preset time, a command would have to go out, and that is how that would happen. It appears the president will have a complete quorum by this evening back in Washington and will assemble his entire government. Secretary of State, who was in Lima, Peru at an OAS meeting, is due to land in Miami. Mr. Powell reacted angrily today, as did the president. We've seen the president twice, once in Florida when he had to announce to a group at an event why he was leaving so quickly, and then once in Louisiana. Look at this picture, by the way. We've been talking about the fact that the smoke continues unabated, and the fire, and you can tell from the smoke, there is still a hot, fast-moving fire there. And Ashley Banfield's been talking about this, the building exposures that caught fire after the initial explosion and collapse of the World Trade Center, and the plaza, the vast area at the base of both World Trade Centers, is still burning. It is a vibrant area generally during the day, retailing and food establishments, and of course it is right now no man's land down there in New York. The American Express building, the financial plaza, is on the far right there, overlooking the Hudson River. We now have, from our friends at Flight Explorer, a look at two of the planes that came out of Boston Logan. And this, if you can stay with the graphic, the first one shows the blue is Boston to LAX, and note that flight diverts. The second one is Boston LAX. It takes a New Jersey route and then veers right on into the New York area. The second one is notable as it was taking a much more southerly route to Los Angeles, but both of them just show that if we had time to slow them down, we would see air speeds, we would see flight level, altitude, but both of these show, of course, the planes ending up where they did. Ashley Banfield is on the phone with us again from Lower Manhattan with more on what is still burning there. Ashley?
Hi, Brian. I'm on the phone, but I think I might actually be able to get a picture out now. I'm standing with Sergeant Moses Cruz with the New York City Police Department, who was on the scene. Just tell me, Brian, if you've got a picture of us, because I think the picture tells a lot of the story. Sergeant Cruz.
Not yet. Oh, okay, now we see you.
You got it now? Okay.
Sergeant Cruz, we're up on MSNBC now, so I just want to talk to you a little bit about what happened today and what time you arrived on the scene and what you saw.
Well, I arrived around between 9:40 after the second airplane hit. Around 10 o'clock, they heard the rumbling, which was a block away. I looked up and see the first tower come down.
You are covered in the ash, and I'm guessing that you probably had the same thing happen to you that happened to us. It was like day turned to night. What happened with you and your...
Compared to what I was before.
What happened to you and your fellow officers at the time? What kind of a response did you jump into, knowing that there was going to be very little communication between the department and all the officers?
When it came down, first we froze. We're like, "Oh God, look what's it's disbelief." Then we turned around and started yelling for people to run, because then the smoke is coming around at us.
When you were running out of the area, what did you see? Did you see bodies? Did you see casualties? Did you see anything in particular?
No, just mainly people running, and I'm yelling at them to run. Then I turned around, the smoke was on top of me. Then I thought you couldn't see anything. You couldn't breathe. You couldn't basically do nothing.
I just want to make sure this is not a bandage. This is just for breathing.
That's the first thing that I got to cover my nose and my mouth.
When all of this happened and you finally were able to see, what response did you jump into? What did you do immediately, knowing what you had in front of you was something massive?
Well, just whoever needed help. A lot of people difficulty breathing, people with chest pains, people falling with head injuries, because nobody could see anything. They just would trip over whatever was in front of them.
As you were moving northward, out of the direct vicinity, did they tell you as well? We've been hearing that this number 7 World Trade Center, which is directly behind us here, is in peril of coming down?
Yeah, they think it's going to come down.
Did they say they're just going to wait for this thing to fall at this point?
Yeah, this one is supposedly too intense in there, so they're going to wait to see what happens.
Have you seen truckloads of doctors and volunteer medical workers going into the site?
Without volunteers, not besides medical workers, or just regular volunteers, citizens volunteering.
Did you have a partner who was working with you at the time? Were you separated from some of the officers with whom you work?
Yeah, it was me and 8 other officers, and initially I lost 6 of them.
What do you mean by you lost 6 of them?
We just lost track of each other in the smog. What I found out in the next couple of hours, got track of all of them.
Sergeant Cruz, I'm being told, and I'm hearing that there are hundreds of emergency workers, including fire, EMS, and police, who are missing at this time. Are you told the same thing?
I've heard things of that nature, yeah. There's a lot of missing emergency workers.
And what about a temporary morgue? What do you know about a temporary morgue being set up?
It's being set up somewhere in the area, but exactly where I'm not exactly sure.
This is a temporary morgue to get some of the bodies from the rubble. Rather than taking them to a staging area, they're being taken immediately to a morgue area?
Yeah, it's like a staging area, you could say. It's a temporary morgue, which is outside supposedly, unless they set up a tent.
What's going on in the recovery efforts? Are there still people buried? Are they using dogs to try to find bodies, to try to find people? Are there cries? Do we know of any survivors who are trying to get out from the rubble?
That I have no idea with. I'm assuming there are people under the rubble. Exactly what, I don't know if they're waiting for this building to come down, but they are looking for search and rescue. They are organizing that.
I know that you're probably exhausted by this point, having been in that area for the last 7 hours. Will you be going back in, and do you have any concerns about either you going back in or your fellow officers who are going back in?
It's going to be a long day and night, and we're going to go back in, and as far as the safety goes, hopefully everything goes good. Hopefully the worst is over.
Okay. Sergeant Cruz, thanks for talking to us. I appreciate it. I hope you can get some rest. I appreciate it. Brian, I can no longer hear you, but I just want to reiterate for you, if we can zoom in past me, that building right there, the brown building, the tall one, is number 7 World Trade Center. I've heard several reports from several different officers now that that is the building that is going to go down next. In fact, one officer told me they're just waiting for that to come down at this point, that there's no way it's going to be recovered and there's no way that they can stabilize it. The building that is directly south of it is number 6 World Trade Center. It apparently has already come down, and we were also a little concerned about the winds shifting. Right now the winds are blowing eastward and blowing a lot of that smoke, the contents of which is unknown at this point. I'm going to hand that to you. Thanks very much. They're very concerned that smoke will start blowing northward through Manhattan, and obviously there are hundreds of people who are here on the perimeter that would be affected by that. And since I can't hear you, I'm going to throw it back to you, but we'll continue watching.